real estate agents, you guys struggle with owning your own brand, owning your own data, and really developing systems and skills that you are in charge of and not your brokerage, right? So today we're going to be diving in a little bit more into the Apex Agent Command platform. And today I want to specifically go over what and how to create automations. I'm even going to show you some amazing cool features of this platform that are already automated for you, right? So stay tuned, get locked in because we are going to go all in today. Now, with that, I want to make sure I am sharing my screen. Now, I'm going to go to 1 second. Let me go here. All right, so here we are in the Apex Agent Command platform. So let's say you're working with buyers, or let's say you're working with sellers. Let's say you're working with investors, right? All those different client avatars that you're working with all have different wants and needs. And if you're sending the same generic posts, the same generic sequences to each and every buyer or seller, they're going to be like, that doesn't relate to me. Let me just unsubscribe. So how do we get those individuals to stop unsubscribing? How do we get them to actually engage? And how do we get them to actually respond? Let's face it, how many of you have literally had a database of, let's say, 1,000 individuals, and those 1,000 individuals, you'll send out an email blast and maybe get one response or no responses, right? So with that, I'm going to show you how we solve that problem today, and that's through automation. So let's take a look at your basic different client avatars. You have buyers, you have sellers, you have investors, and then you have your sphere of influence. Those are four main different kind of avenues you have right there, right? So what I need to do is I want to create a pipeline of business. And what do I mean by that when it comes to pipeline of business? So today's call, we're going to go over pipelines, tags, and how to set up automations for real estate agents. All right, so let's dive in. So first, let's talk about what is a pipeline. So here we are in Apex Agent Command. A pipeline is a 10,000 foot overview of your business. Right here, you will see the opportunities tab in the left-hand corner. In this left-hand corner, you're going to see here that I have all of my webinar leads right here. I have every webinar per date. And behind every one of these columns, I literally have an automation that is following up with each one of these individuals based on the webinar they signed up with and based on the date they signed up with it, right? So how do we set this up for you? So let's go in and actually do this together. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to pipelines. Now, when I'm in pipelines, I'm going to click create pipeline, and I'm going to call it book of business. And it's going to be buyer, it's going to be seller, investor, and let's just say sphere. Heck, let's even add another stage. So all you have to simply do is add stage. Let's do, I'm going to say past past customers right there. Okay. So I'm going to say past customers right there. So now I've just created the visual aesthetic of that pipeline. It says top right hand corner, pipeline created. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my opportunities, click on that again. So notice in the top up here, it says opportunities pipeline. So I created in pipelines. So then to go back and see that pipeline finish, I go to opportunities. Then I'm going to go to webinars. And then I'm going to look for the book of business. Oh, there it is, right there at the top. So I click on book of business. Now you can see here, I have buyers, sellers, investors, sphere, and past customers. All these different avatars get different follow-up sequences, right? But how do I make custom follow-up sequences for myself, for my team, for my branding? That's what I want to do. How do I create simple follow-up systems for my customers, my business, and my branding? Okay. So what I'm going to do here is now that I have the pipeline created, I need to put some automation behind it. So next step is I'm going to click on automation. And when I'm in automation, I could click build using AI, or I could create from scratch, right? Now, I also want to show you a really cool feature, which is create workflow. There are templates already created for you as well. So if you go to templates right here, you could do any kind of template right here. So communication, so email drip sequence recipe, an FAQ recipe, a missed call text back. So let's say someone calls you, you want them to automatically get a text message back. How profitable would you be if someone missed you missed someone's call, but you text them back instantly without doing anything? That one automation could save your business. Communication recipe, webinar registration confirmation recipe, Facebook Messenger, no more ManyChat, no more automations. You ever wonder how people automate that? We have an automation right here, and you could preview it right here. Okay, you could preview this automation right here. So now what we're going to do is I want to keep it simple for you guys today. I want to build using AI. This whole platform's built on AI, so I want to build using AI. So when I'm build using AI, I'm going to go click here, build using AI, and I'm going to say, hey there, I want to create an automation that is specifically for a pipeline that I have called Book of Business. And in that Book of Business pipeline, I have several stages. I have a buyer's stage, a seller's stage, an investor's stage. I have a sphere of influence stage, and I have a past client stage. I would like to create an automation for each one of those stages that follows up with each client avatar differently via text and via email. And I want the follow-ups to be very centered around themselves, the consumer, not about me. I don't want to showboat about me. I want these follow-up sequences to be 1 year long, and I don't want them to repeat either. Now, if they actually do reply back, I personally want to receive a text message that says one of these leads replied back to me. Can you please build this? Here's the thing. You just saw me talking to my computer, right? You just saw me talking to my computer. How am I doing that? I use a platform called WhisperFlow. WhisperFlow is a platform I do that on. Now, with WhisperFlow, I am able to talk directly into my computer and tell it and do anything I want it to do. And look how nicely it laid it out right there. Now, here's the most money-making part of this automation is if they actually reply back, I personally want to receive a text message that says one of these leads replied back to me. Can you please build this? I want to be notified immediately once I get a lead replied. And guess what? I don't want to get an app notification. We get a million app notifications. I want to get an SMS text message because I know my SMS is important. Okay. So then from here, I'm literally going to click boom and build. And it's going to build it for me. And while it's building, I'm going to name this workflow in accordance with my pipeline. That way I know exactly what automations are for what pipelines. Does that make sense? Perfect. So I'm going to name it Book of Business. Boom, right there. Book of Business is added. Now, my AI has asked me a few questions. When a client, when a client's opportunity is moved into, should each stage-based automation start for a client? When a new opportunity is created in the stage. Um, I'm gonna do when a new opportunity opportunity is created in the stage or moved into the stage, or a custom tag is applied to the contact. So, what is a tag? A tag is like a sticky note or a label you put on a customer. So, if I add the tag buyer, you're going to get all the buyer leads. And I'm going to show you that here in a second. So, then from here, I'm going to send that. And how often would you like to follow up emails and text messages during the year-long sequence? Monthly, every 2 weeks, weekly. So I want it to be every 2 weeks because I don't want to bombard too much. Clarification answers. Awesome. So now it's actually building it out utilizing AI. Total build out, total game changing. So once this is done, I'm going to actually be able to go in and literally edit all the text copy, things like that. That's when I can use ChatGPT to, or Claude. Actually, I like using Claude right now. So if you're wondering, do I use Chat? Do I use Claude? I'll be honest with you, I use AI every single day, and I will highly recommend that you use Claude over ChatGPT any day of the week, right? So, once this is done, in this process, don't be alarmed. It takes sometimes up to 5 minutes. It's building out. Oh, wow, it's already done, right? It's already done. Now, check this out. Stage one, boom, 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 boom. So, complete these steps before executing workflow. Opportunity created, booked, and business pipeline. So, in pipeline. So now it's walking me through the things I need to do. This is really cool. So, select pipeline. Where's it at? Book of business, select status. I'm going to do pipeline stage. Pipeline stage is buyers. Actually, no, I'm not going to do a second filter. You don't even need to do a second filter. Save trigger. Okay. Business, business, do the same thing, delete that. Save trigger right there. Now add contact tag. So notice these are all the ignition switches for your automation. Okay. Now I could turn around and say, this looks like so the average person would think, this looks like it's one automation for every single individual user. It's not. But if you want it to be aesthetically different, then I would say, hey there, I really don't like the way the tree branch looks. I want there to be a visual where it's the buyer stage and all the buyer's automations, the seller stage and all the seller's automations, the customer replied stage and all the automations, the investor stage and all the automations, the past customer stage and all the automations. So, oh, Control V. There we go. All right. So I could literally tell it how I want to visualize all these automations. Now, once you're probably thinking, holy smokes, this looks super technical. It's really not because whenever an opportunity is created, these automations happen. Whenever a pipeline stage is changed, these automations happen. Whenever we add a tag, these automations happen. And whenever a customer applies, these automations happen. So these are all the triggers in which this automation will work with. Okay. Now, um, it's saying, let's see what it says. So it's asking me, how does it want me to do it? So here, if I want to change these automations, I can go in here and I could read this little email it wrote for me. It literally writes out all the emails better than probably you would, right? So it's already wrote out that email for you right here, the from email, the from name. So you could change it if you have different people on your team and things like that. You could change that in here. And then I could even add trackers. So let's say I don't want to use a bit.ly link anymore. I could track how many times somebody's clicked on a button. I could track how many open rates, things like that. I can even test this email so I know what it looks like in my inbox. Okay. So I could do all those things, right? Same thing with text right here. I could track this text message. I could track all this stuff. I could change all this stuff right here, right? So the possibilities are quite endless. Um, and with that, okay, and hello to those of you who are joining me. With that, okay, you're able to create your custom automations. So here you'll see that, hey, I don't like what this says. I could choose to write and change this text message with AI. So I could select the tone, casual, friendly, persuasive, urgent, apologetic. And a lot of people are wondering, like, Tony, why do you say that your AI is better than ChatGPT or Claude? Well, because my AI is prompting you with the right questions before you press create, right? So my AI is asking you, what kind of tone do you want, right? You may be a very professional person and you may be thinking, oh, ChatGPT is horrible because it sounds too casual. Well, it's probably automatically set globally as too casual, right? So that is something you have to look at when you are looking at using AI features. So here, if I'm doing a buyer follow-up email, I'm probably going to be a little bit more friendly. And then I could type the prompt. I could say, I want to create a epic buyer follow-up sequence, or buyer follow-up text message for somebody that just opted in from one of my Facebook ads. And then I'm going to generate SMS. And then boom. Thank you for your interest. We're excited to help you along your journey. If you have any questions or would like more information about our offerings, feel free to reach out. We're here to assist you. It's kind of weak in my opinion. I don't like that. So I'm going to say that's super weak. There's no building of rapport or anything like that. Th- So it's like I would say like 2 points better because it says stay tuned. It's prepping them to let them know you're gonna reach out, but it says this needs to ask them questions about their home buying journey. And you could do like regenerate SMS, and you could do as many times as you want to do this. Um, it's asking now, can you share the features you're looking for in your new home? Also, have you set a budget and time frame for your purchase? Looking forward to hearing from you. That's pretty slick, pretty easy. So I'm gonna use this message. So here I can click save that action, right? I can click save that action right there. And then once it's saved, I could just go down the pipeline and spend an hour and just make sure my pipelines are set up per stage. Now, let's say you're like, Tony, I want to do pipeline by pipeline. And for those of you who are just joining this call, today what we're doing is how do I set up automation behind my business? How do I set up buyer follow-ups and seller follow-ups and things of that nature? And I know a couple of you have just joined, so I'm going to run through it really quickly again. But for those of you who've been on the call, this is exactly how you set up all your automations for your pipelines. So once this is done, you can click publish and boom, save. Now, the number one reason why I see, believe it or not, people say the automations aren't working is because they forget to click publish. So let that be known that you must click publish on all your automations. Please click publish. So I'm gonna leave that in draft. All right, so let's go back through it again real quick. Let's say you're working with buyers, sellers, investors, um, your sphere of influence, your past clients, all those different things. Each one of those client avatars has to have a different automation, right? And let's face it, you're using Follow Up Boss, Boomtown, Lofty, all these other ones, and they're all out of the can. And why did you choose Apex Agent Command? Because you want something custom to you and your brand, right? You want to be able to take control of your branding, your automations, and own your business. So how do I do that? How do I create custom automations? And I'm going to go through it really quick, down and dirty again. But this one's with a twist. Why is it with a twist? Because I'm going to teach you how to set up automations for each avatar individually. In the beginning of this call, I showed you how to set up automations for each avatar all at once. And for me, I'm an all at once guy. But for some of you, you may be more visually appealing to see it individually, right? So that's what we're going to set up today is how to do that. Now, once I get into my Apex Agent Command platform, the first thing you're going to want to do is create an opportunity, right? You're going to want to create opportunities. And what is an opportunity? An opportunity is a 10,000 overfoot view of your business. It's a 10,000 foot overview of your business. Now, when I go into the opportunity stage, I created this one here, book of business. I have a buyers, sellers, investors sphere. Now, for a lot of people, to give you more of a visualization, I'm going to show you my book of business for webinars. So I do webinars weekly almost, and you can see here all my registrations for every single webinar. Every webinar I do has a different set of automations because I'm either selling or teaching something different on every single one, right? So when I do that, okay, I turn around and um sorry, I just blacked out real quick. So I turn around and I need to create one for my own book of business. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna click on pipelines and I'm gonna click create pipeline. So the pipeline name is I could call it the Glover group. I'm gonna call it the Glover group. Glover group, right? Stage one is buyer. Stage two is seller. Stage three is investor. And stage four is sphere. But wait, what about my past clients? All you can do is click add stage. Stage five is past clients, right? So then you're going to click create. Now, I'm going to go back to my opportunities. And then in webinars, I'm going to click on Glover Group. See, it's number one right there. So now I can see it's visually created. But how do I create automations behind each one of these tabs? So what I would then do is go over to automation, and then I would go create folder, and I would create a folder for that pipeline. My folder's name is going to be Glover Group. Click create. And then now I'm going to go to recents. Oh, where's my folder? Did I click save? Weird. It is not showing that Glover Group. Wow, this is something I've never seen before. Just create it right there. Okay, now I think it's created. So create workflow. All right, so now I'm going to create the workflow. So I want to create an automation specifically for my buyer pipeline in that actual, I want to create a specifically in that actual pipeline, right? I want to create a buyer follow-up sequence that is for my team, for my branding, for that buyer pipeline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey there, I want to create a 12-week sequence, a 12-week sequence for my buyer pipeline. Now, these buyers in this pipeline are luxury buyers. They're not $300,000 buyers. So I have a pipeline name or a pipeline name that's called the Glover Group, and I want to create an automation for that to where every time somebody goes into the buyer pipeline, they get 12 months of follow-ups that are super custom, super asking them questions, building a lot of rapport, and then they turn around and um, follow up via text message. So if they reply back to my automation, I'm actually going to get an SMS. Can you please fix this for me? All right. So now the AI is going to actually build it right there. And welcome everybody who just curious, really curious, while the AI is building it, you all could see my screen, but just when did you all just get a text message about this, or did you get an email, or just running a little late? 'Cause it seems like everybody's rolling in at 10:30. And we typically get started at 10 and we actually end in 3 minutes. You just received an email. Okay. Okay. Because this class is one you definitely want to go back and replay because this is literally how do I set up automations using Apex Agent Command. Um, but here, so now it's pretty much set up that buyer automation pipeline. So it's asked me, when should this automation first start? When the new opportunity is created in the pipeline, when an opportunity moves, when the status opportunity changes. So the automation should take place when the new opportunity is either created or an opportunity moves to this pipeline, or we add the tag specifically for buyers. So if, and then a 12-week sequence once going out SMS monthly, full week, 12-week sequence when different with then there are different follow-up schedules for the rest of the year. Oh, full 12-month sequence. So now my AI platform is literally going to build this automation for me. Um, Weird, Scott. And thank you, Scott, for telling me. Um, Rick, did you also get an email? Did you get the email prior? I just want to make sure my emails are going out right because I know there's a little bit of confusion this morning while this is building this out. Scott, what's going on? Then also, I do want to make note as well that with Apex Agent Command, you absolutely have the power to build your own brand. And this one video, I'm a very no fluff guy. Like if I have to watch a YouTube video that's more than 15 minutes, I'm tuned out. And I think a lot of us are that way on this call, probably. But this video, I'm going over twice how to set up automations. Now, with that being said, right now what we're building to get everybody up to speed is we're building individual automations for a pipeline. What is a pipeline? A pipeline is a 10,000 foot overview of your business, right? That is what a pipeline is. So, alrighty. So it is going right now. It's still working on it. And then also another thing you want to do is make sure you click Glover. So you definitely want to on new automations. So now check this out. So now whenever opportunities created, a pipeline stage is changed, or a contact tag is added, or the customer replies, these automations happen, right? So we just built all these automations right here with the AI. Now complete these steps. Now notice it's okay, so Tony, we just created these automations, but how does these automations connect to that pipeline? Is that a fair question? Like you all saw how I create the pipeline. How do these automations connect to that pipeline stage? Right? So, and this is exactly what it's asking me here. So let's connect it. Complete these steps before executing the workflow. New opportunities created in buyer pipeline. So now it's asking me opportunity created, new opportunity pipeline. Now it's asking me what pipeline? What pipeline? In what pipeline? Where's the Glover one? Glover group right here. So whenever an opportunity is created in the pipeline, that's when this happens. And is tagged by this when this happens. Now, you click Save Trigger. Now, next automation that needs me to connect. Opportunity move to buyer pipeline. Again, I need to check the pipeline, Glover. Ooh, and then pipeline stage, stages, buyer, right? So in pipeline, once a contact goes into this pipeline, in this pipeline stage, these automations will happen. Did everybody follow that? Can you type one in the chat if you all saw exactly what I did? Right? Y'all saw exactly what I did. No? Yes? All right. Perfect. Thank you, Nancy. So I'm going to save that trigger, right? So here, one thing I didn't do is pipeline stages. So I'm going to go back to this. How do I edit that? Add filter, click on stage, stage, stages, buyer, save trigger. So whenever I move a contact to this stage in this pipeline, whether their opportunity is created, they change that stage or tags added, these automations will happen for my luxury customers. Now, if I want to create one for $300,000 buyers, I create another automation and so on and so forth. You could create what would be really powerful if you're a real estate agent is you create a pipeline that's specifically for buyers. You have one stage that are $100,000 buyers, another stage that are $200,000 buyers, another stage that are $300,000 buyers, and you have automations for every single client avatar. Do you not think you'd get more replies back if you did that? And let me show you actually how to do that really quick. I have 5 more minutes. I'm trying to go over because I know a lot of some of you joined a little bit late, but I want to make sure you guys understand this. So how do I do this? I'm going to do this in 5 minutes. I'm going to show you how to build this whole automation in 5 minutes. So step one, create that opportunity. So I'm going to go into pipelines number one. I'm going to go create pipeline. I'm going to go buyers. I'm going to click on 100K, 200K, 500K, a million. I'm going to just put milli. Great. Boom. Now my pipeline's created. I'm going to go back, go to my drop down, and well, I don't know if I click save. Buyers right there. Actions forward. Boom, boom, boom. Buyers right there. Boom. So 100K, 200K. Now imagine every one of these buyer profiles has a different automation behind it, right? So now I go to automations. I first want to create a folder. That way I house all my automations for that one pipeline in this folder. I click buyer. All right. So then I click build using AI. I want to create an automation for all of my buyers that have a budget of $100,000 that's going to follow up with them for over 1 year. It's going to talk about the potential pain points they may be discovering, ask them questions, really just dive deep and try to get them to purchase a home within the next year. I want these automations to be both text and email. Can you please create these for me? By the way, these automations are going to be built and tied to my buyer pipeline in the stage 100K. Boom. Now it's going to build it for me, right? Now it's going to build. So from there, 1 second, stop share. 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. Um, 1 second. It's going to build it right now. Okay, so then I'm going to go here. And then notice it's asking me again, how does this trigger want to be done? When a buyer opportunity is moved to the 100K stage, when a new opportunity is created in the 100K stage, or when the status of the 100K stage changes. I'm going to say when a tag is added 100K, when the buyers move to the 100K stage, or when a buyer is created in the 100K stage. Are y'all learning something? I just want to make sure y'all are following along a lot of tracking, a lot of like, holy smokes, this may be a lot, but I just want to make sure I show you really how easy this is. Yes, Nicole S. Yes, we absolutely can. Yes, yes, yes. So, can you create another trigger before the pipeline to automate this process if they enter it into a funnel? Yes, you can put as many triggers as you want. I have some of my automations have over 100 triggers, right? Some of them have over 100 triggers. So, Nicole, also, I'm gonna DM you my phone number. If you could shoot me a text, that way I can give you a call right after this. Um, 1 second. Alrighty, there it is right here. So there it is. So when a contact tag is added, when the pipelines change, when the contact is created, these automations will happen specifically for a 100K buyer. Oh, look, it even had an email, the pain point of it. Lending and down payment tips. Yeah, that's a pretty big pain point of a 100K buyer, right? That's a pretty solid. Here's the other thing. You could add your own images, you could add your own text, things like that. So you could absolutely have that all right there. So you could add graphics if you want to the email campaigns. But then you just go in and uh you can go through and edit all these text messages accordingly. So it's all right here. Now, how do I really get this going? Okay, so Tony, you showed me how. Oh, cancel, save action. So right up on this side right here, it says buyer move to 100K pipeline stage. So I need to set this up. So in pipeline, buyer, add filter, 100K. Boom. It's now connected. All I have to do is click publish. And anytime I tag a buyer 100K, I either tag them 100K, I move them into this pipeline, or a new contact is created in the 100K pipeline, they will get these automations. Totally custom to me. So it's super intuitive to where you can go in there and make your own automations yourself. So now we are next week specifically, and Nicole brought this up. We are starting. Last week we went over Facebook ads. Next week we are also going to be diving into Facebook ads very heavily as well. So definitely stay tuned. Um, but before you drive traffic to your business, before you drive anything to your business, you must have automations that can handle that traffic, right? You must have it. And that's why we want to start with today with this class, because traffic without follow-up is a leaky bucket or a sinking ship. So thank you all so much.
Enter the last seven
Really
digits
appreciate
of
the
the
call.
phone number.